Howdy. The video that if you're gonna watch the rest of the video, it was supposed to just be a 5-minute supply chain story of Nutella. But Murad went into full teacher mode and we hit topics that included finance, marketing, entrepreneurship, strategic management. He even threw in some personal development tips. So I hope you find that good. All of this stems from a comment I made to him way back in the spring when it was clear we were going to go online. And I said, necessity is the mother of invention. And after I said that to Murad, he then immediately went into the story about Nutella and how the guy who founded Nutella founded it based on the need to stay in business. And anyhow, I hope you find the rest of this video interesting.
So, my name is Murad. I work as an instructor in the United Arab Emirates University. I teach supply chain courses. So I teach supply chain 200, which is an introductory level course, and procurement and supply management for specialization students.
Okay. So what is your background in supply chain, if I may ask? Like what brought you to...
I have an industry experience. I worked in logistics firms, in third-party logistics firms. I worked at Aramex and the company called Syncreon. We managed the logistics function for Apple and Dell. So we were like a third-party logistics service provider for high-tech customers mainly.
Okay. So in other words, you came to UAEU with a lot of industry and background experience.
Correct. Yeah. Exactly.
Okay. And to be an instructor at UAEU, that's actually one of the requirements, because you're an instructor and not a professor, so you're here to teach, not to do research and academic side. You're at the university solely to impart knowledge to our students.
Correct. Yeah. Exactly.
That's for sure. Okay. So that's actually kind of what this is. That's this whole thing I'm doing now is trying to impart knowledge to our students, to anybody who watches this. And so, in the topic we're doing today is fake chocolate. That's kind of, it's not real chocolate, it's fake chocolate. And the U.S. most famous version of fake chocolate is this. It's Tootsie Rolls. And the way people, it's one of the most common candies in America, and you can buy it here. They sell it here too. And this was the original 1-cent candy in America more than 100 years ago. And it's made of, it's fake chocolate. It's made with a little bit of chocolate and then a whole lot of additives to make it so that they can make it cheaper. Because the guy who invented this, I can't even remember his name, but the guy who invented this just came up with that. So you were telling me a story about Nutella.
Yes.
Where's my Nutella? Here is the jar of Nutella. And my friend Masood has made me a croissant with Nutella in it. So he thinks, so what this is a Nutella. Oh my God, he put a ton of chocolate in. Oh my God. So I have to cleanse my palate, because if we're gonna do something about food, I have to have, when in wine tastings, they have to spit out the wine and cleanse your palate. So I don't have a sophisticated palate, so I don't do wine tastings because I don't have a sophisticated palate. But what I do know is that I like the American version of fake chocolate, and when I've tried the Nutella version of fake chocolate, I haven't liked it. So I'm curious if I will like it. Oh. While I'm eating this, Murad, how do you like Nutella? How do you usually eat it?
I like it. I really like it. So typically in this part of the world, we use it with waffle and crepe. So whenever, as I said, whenever you go to a restaurant or a sweet shop and you just order waffle or crepe, now in Europe or in the United States, they put the chocolate, the pure chocolate syrup. Here they don't. They just put Nutella. So this is the most favorite way of eating Nutella in this part of the world. And if you ask many students, they will tell you the same thing. So it's with either waffle or crepe.
I understand. I see it everywhere I go. I see, like, when in
Yeah.
the movie theater, the first time I went to a movie back in 2008, the first time I went to a movie in this country, and I saw that they were selling Nutella crepes, I was like, what's that? Because we did not, back then, we didn't have it in America. I guess now we do. I've been told it's become, so America's now adopted it too. But I've been gone for 13 years, and so I didn't see it. But the first time I went in, I saw that, and so I ordered the Nutella crepe, because when I first came here, I was trying everything I saw. And
She was
also
just
why,
eating a bunch of crap without even.
yeah, and it's also why I gained, like, not exaggerating, I gained at least 5 kilos in my first 6 months here, because I
Wow.
was literally eating everything. I
Wow.
found the Macarabia. Oh man, we don't have the Macarabia from McDonald's.
Macarabia is amazing. Macarabia is really.
The Macarabia chicken, oh my God. And so I must have had that, way too much. So,
Did you try shawarma, by the way?
of course,
Where did you try it? Which restaurant did you try?
how long have I been in the UAE? 13
Yeah,
years?
12 years, like.
Yeah, I'm in my 13th year. So, is it possible to live in this country that long and not have a shawarma?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so.
So I've had a lot of shawarmas, and I
Yeah.
I love
Yeah,
it.
where I'm coming from, shawarma is like, it's a main meal. We eat it like twice a week, probably.
I could, but back to Nutella. So I have to say, this really bothers me actually. I have to say, I like this way more than I thought I would. So
Wow.
I'm glad I agreed up front that I'm going to be giving this jar to Masood, to anybody.
Trust me,
out of
by
my
the end of the day, I don't know, it depends on what kind of person you are, but by the end of the day, if I had this, it will be done.
Yeah.
It will be done.
So how do you deal with the fact, like, I just got Nutella all over my hand? Tell me an eating tip of how you, how do you not have this happen?
It comes with the food anyway, so you have to manage it. So
So you just say to yourself, this is part of eating it, getting
part of
Nutella all
eating
over
it.
everything. Well, see, this is what makes my Tootsie Roll better. My Tootsie Roll, you don't need to have a paper towel or Kleenex when you have a Tootsie Roll.
You can't compare both of them, because one of them is like a chocolate, and the other one is like a chocolate paste. So
Yeah.
you can't. It's not meant to be eaten directly.
Okay.
It's meant to be mixed with something else. It's a paste.
So I'm going to ask, because the original goal was that I wanted you to have some Tootsie Rolls in front of you so that you could try my fake chocolate to compare whatever. But since you're not there, I'm going to ask my friend Masood, who's helped producing this video, what do you think of America's fake chocolate? Yes. America's fake chocolate is Tootsie Rolls. Nutella is France's fake chocolate, I believe, right?
It's Italy.
Italy. Okay, it's Italy's fake chocolate. Who makes the better fake chocolate, Masood? Nutella or Tootsie Roll? Okay, so Masood is with you, right? Masood would be with so I would like to eat. He made 2 of these for me, and I'm not going to eat it. There.
I can eat it. I can. Just save it for me.
Yeah. So now, Murad, I want to hear the story of Nutella. I want you to tell me how Nutella came to be.
Okay. So the story of Nutella goes back to 1940s. While in World War II, there was a shortage in the cacao supply from South America to most part of Europe. So as you can see, that most of the business in Europe that depends on actually making chocolate was interrupted, okay, and it was disrupted. So in Italy, in a small village in Italy, there was a guy named Ferrero who was a pastry maker, and he basically depends on cacao in all what he does. So he thought about another way, an innovative way, in order to overcome this issue. So what he did is that he actually invented something which is similar to the hazelnut paste. So it's basically a hazelnut paste, okay, and mixed with sugar and some oil, okay, and a little bit of cacao because there was a shortage in the cacao supply. So he invented this, and from there, people actually liked it. They really liked it. And this is where Nutella started. Now, under the trade name Nutella, it only started in 1960s, and specifically in England, in United Kingdom. Before that, Ferrero used to sell it in his pastry shop. So generally speaking, as you can see, so he actually invented a way to solve a problem, because he had a problem of a shortage in the cacao supply, and he was either running out of business in his country, or he will just come up with another way to solve it. So it was actually an innovative solution, or you can see a smart solution to a tricky problem. And this is how actually Nutella started. As of now, Steve, Nutella is actually the number one sold products in the world. So it's actually the number one. So
more than Coca-Cola? Seriously?
More than Coca-Cola. Yeah, and it's the second one is, I think it's the Big Mac. Yeah, I think it's the Big Mac, but the first one, not in terms of revenue, but in terms of the number of products sold, I guess, it's Nutella. It's the number one. And I'll tell you another fact or another thing that I've noticed.
I have to believe more cans of Coke are sold than either, but I might be wrong. But
Yeah. We can check it. We can check it, but that's what I know. It's the most sold product across the globe.
Well,
Okay.
this is the great thing about editing. I'm going to be able to fact check that, and we'll be able to rank the number of Big Macs for Nutella and Coke, because I have to believe, as Mr. Coca-Cola guy, as everybody knows me as this guy, I have to believe in my world, Coke is number one in sales, and nothing you're going to tell me is going to.
Well, it doesn't matter what you believe. It matters if you can prove. I was saying that, yeah, Nutella was a smart solution to a tricky problem, and it's basically a supply chain classical. It's a classical supply chain problem, Steve. So the supply disruption and the shortage in supply, we have seen it recently in the COVID-19 pandemic. Lots of suppliers or supply lines have interrupted, especially from China or from the Far East. So a lot of manufacturing companies, either in Europe or in the Middle East, or even in the United States, had to rely on local suppliers rather than importing their raw material from China or from the Far East. So this is a classical supply chain problem. Ferrero actually invented a way, or came up with a way to overcome this issue, and it paid really well. People actually liked the idea of mixing hazelnut with chocolate paste. So to your point, necessity is the mother of all invention. So he needed a way to stay on business. That's his necessity. And he came up with this invention, the hazelnut paste. Why is Nutella fake chocolate? It is fake chocolate because it contains only 10%, it's even less than 10% cacao. It contains 55% sugar. So this jar, the one that you are holding, 55% of this jar is sugar. It's pure sugar. It's just white sugar. And
I feel like I'm gonna get diabetes just holding it.
Yeah. It is that bad, Steve. It is so bad. And on the top of the 55%, there's around 15 to 20% of palm oil, which is the worst kind of oil to your health. So yeah, it's not good. It's not good for your health.
So, am I going to have a heart attack just from the one croissant I ate? Am I?
Yeah, probably. No. But if you make it 10 croissant, that would be tricky. Your liver can't just digest that amount of sugar. So yeah, if you eat 100 grams of Nutella, that's probably 3 spoons. That's it, 3 or 4 spoons. That means that you are ingesting 55 grams of sugar to your body and 15 grams or 20 grams of palm oil, which is even worse than sugar, to your body. It's a trans fat. And probably only 10% of cacao, okay? And the remaining will be hazelnut paste and other ingredients. But yeah, it is a fake chocolate. And why it's a fake chocolate? We call it commercial chocolate. So why? Because most of the ingredients are not made out of cacao. They're made out of sugar, from trans fats, from other ingredients. As it goes with the same other chocolate brands, Kit Kat, Snickers, all of these, they are commercial chocolates. They are not real chocolates. The one thing that I've noticed about Nutella is that they did not launch any product apart from this chocolate paste. They didn't have to. So if you go back to Kit Kat, I think in the beginning of 2000s, there was a saturation in their market. Okay, so there was a market saturation. They didn't used to sell the classical Kit Kat is the four fingers Kit Kat. We all know it. So they didn't actually, their sales were start to decline or stabilize at least, and they didn't like it. So what they did, Nestle, what they did is that they came up with Kit Kat Chunky. I'm not sure if you know Kit Kat Chunky, but it's another type. It's basically the same chocolate, but in a different shape. And this is what actually companies do all the time. They come up with products, new products. This is a classical strategy, new product introduction, in order to increase their sales and revenue. But Nutella didn't have to do that. They just have one single product, which is the one that you're holding. It's in different sizes, but it's the same. It's the same. Why? Because they didn't actually have to introduce a new product.
So if we were looking at it from a strategic perspective, they have a focus strategy. And their focus strategy is how to sell this, and we don't care about selling 10 other products. All we want to focus on is the production and distribution of this.
You can think of it as a focus strategy, but when you say focus, you are focusing on a specific customer. You're not focusing on a specific product. So the focus.
Why can't focus mean focus for either?
Because this is what strategy is all about. So you will either have, the strategy is either cost leadership or differentiation. And then you will have focus, cost leadership, or focus differentiation. So the focus is more of about the market that you are selling it to. So for example, Rolls-Royce, it has a focus differentiation strategy. Why? Because it's focusing on, the luxury cars market. So it's not, and it's a differentiation because it differentiates itself in that market. So yeah, I wouldn't call it a focus strategy, but it's.
What would you call Nutella's strategy then? How would you label Nutella's strategy? I'm not. I know you don't teach strategic management, so I'm not trying.
I understand. But it might be a cost leadership strategy because if you think about it, it's actually cheap. It's cheap. It's probably differentiation as well. So it's a hybrid. It's really a hybrid, Steve. It's a hybrid between both.
All companies are a hybrid. When I do teach strategic management, I make it clear all companies are a hybrid, but there is each company has where they can't be all things to all people, and so that is so we're so again, but by the way, the reason I'm calling this Beyond the Classroom is you've actually discussed the health effects of Nutella, you've covered supply chain of Nutella, and you've also talked about innovation and entrepreneurship. That it was the things he did. He was obvious. I've never even heard of this man you just talked about, but he obviously was an incredible innovator and very entrepreneurial. So the point of Beyond the Classroom is that we can talk about things, and I brought in the strategic management side of it. And so the point I'm doing with Beyond the Classroom is to tie together that for you in supply chain to teach only the supply chain side of it is a mistake. Nutella is a product all our students love, and apparently, even if I were teaching in America now, apparently even it's popular in America. Ugh, anyhow, yeah. I
Another
didn't grow
lesson
up with that
is,
fake chocolate. If I were teaching in America, I'd do the Tootsie Roll example because that's
well,
everyone in America knows that one.
there is no interesting story behind it. You won't be able to tell a story behind Tootsie Rolls. Yeah, so
Oh, that seems like the gauntlet's thrown down there. Now I want to see if I can make an interesting story on Tootsie Rolls. I made an interesting story about watermelons, man. If I can make watermelons interesting,
I see. It means that you just come up with it with a story. You can't just made up a story.
look, you know, as I depart UAEU, part of what's going to be Steve Explains is Steve explaining things that you wouldn't otherwise think is interesting that people are going to want to see. And so,
So we touched on a couple of elements about the Nutella story. So supply chain, strategic management, innovation, health issues. And the last one that I need to touch base on is personal development, actually, Steve. So if you think about it, Ferrero did not do what others did. So instead of sitting around and saying, "Oh, I'm screwed. I'm running out of business because I don't have cacao," okay, he actually thought about an innovative way. He didn't just sit around doing nothing. Like probably I will do that. You would do that. We will sit around and say, "You know what? There's no cacao interruption. There is no cacao supply, so we're screwed. Our back is against the wall." So he actually thought of another way. So he thought he was proactive in his way of thinking rather than, passive. Okay. He didn't. So he actually took a chance of this crisis. So it was a crisis for them. Okay. Apparently they like chocolate a lot. So it was a crisis. So he actually took advantage of this crisis. And this is where most of the business recovery plans, Steve, take place. So they try to take an advantage out of a crisis or out of a difficult situation. If you are into financial market, I'm not into financial market a lot, but there's a lot of investors at the beginning of the COVID-19 crisis back in March and April. There's a lot of investors who were really scared about their investment in China. So what they did is that they were trying to sell their stock, sell their investments, and the Chinese government actually welcomed that. They started. I'm serious. They started.
no, I know you're right. I know you're right. I know you're right. And
They
I know where the
started
story is
buying
going.
these ventures. They started buying the Chinese government itself. They started buying these ventures because one of the issues in China is that most of the investment there are not for Chinese government or not for Chinese people. They are for investors from Europe or Middle East or United States. So when the crisis came, so you can see that this crisis actually benefited the Chinese government. They actually bought these shares and stock and investments for what? For peanuts, for very cheap price. Now it's worth even more. So they gained profit and they gained control over the investment in their countries. So this is actually a classical story.
So now congratulations, Murad, the guy who teaches supply chain. You've now given a finance story of where one of the principles in finance is buy low, sell high, buy when something's cheap. And so China saw what was there and they were able to buy low, which is one of the major goals in finance. So let's see, what are the other areas of the business world we haven't hit? So now you've got finance. Is there anything you want to talk about in accounting? Because you're a supply chain guy, but you're covering all these things.
No. I know accounting, but there is nothing about accounting in this story. But there's one more thing is that this guy also took a risk. So both of them. So the Chinese government took a risk. Okay, there could be, they might say, we will buy these ventures now and these investments, but their market value might drop after a period of time. So they took a risk. And the same way Ferrero took a risk. So he invented a way of, making the hazelnut paste, but there was a chance that people didn't like it, right? He actually took risk. Yeah.
All entrepreneurs, I mean, the key part of entrepreneurship is risk.
That's the lesson learned.
Yeah, yeah. So
That's-
which reminds me something that I have not got from you about the world of Nutella, because again, I had heard of Nutella before I came to this country, but I don't think I even saw it in the stores. And now when I go back to the US, it's everywhere as it is here. So in the time I've been gone, Nutella has spread, yeah, anyhow, this like an invasive species, whatever. Okay, so my question is, to your knowledge, what do they do in marketing? I'd love to, for this I almost need to ask somebody in America, how did Nutella become famous in America? Because it wasn't when I was growing up, and it wasn't when I left the US in 2008. But, so for you, you were born and raised with Nutella?
Yeah. We actually used to see a lot of commercials on TV, Steve, because back then TV was a very famous method of, commercials and advertisement. So we used to see a lot, and we had this.
And to be clear, you were born and raised in what country?
Jordan, yeah.
You're born and raised in Jordan, and you saw the TV advertisements for Nutella.
Yeah, we used to see it a lot. So there was a massive advertisement about Nutella, and there was, this very unique advertisements.
And so the advertisements made 5-year-old Murad be like, "Mommy, mommy, mommy, I want Nutella."
Exactly. That's the whole purpose of the advertisement, anyway. So the advertisement actually was targeting. In a strange way, it was targeting only young and children, basically 5 to 10 years old. So that's what the advertisement is all about, and it was advertising it in a way that Nutella is the good breakfast, and it's and all of these things. Although the worst thing that you can eat first thing in the day is Nutella. Trust me, it's the worst thing that you could eat because it will drain your energy.
Are you?
Yeah.
Murad, let's be clear. Are you saying that this company lied to children?
I'm not saying anything. It's so delicious.
Because I'm sure they have lawyers, and this is defamation. If you're saying the Nutella is somehow not part of a nutritious breakfast, I'm sure they have some lawyers who are going to want to come back and sue you.
No, I'm not saying anything. But yeah, it's.
Now Murad's like, why did I volunteer to do this? So
why did I do that? Yeah, why did I do that? Facts are clear. So if you read the label, you would see, I think, 50 to 55% sugar. So just read it now. You can see it.
Yeah.
Palm oil and all of these things. So it's not a healthy choice. It's not a healthy choice. It might be a good business case. As you have seen.
I can't read it because the ingredient label is in Arabic, and so
Okay, never mind. So it might be a good business case back from 1940s, where he actually invented the hazelnut paste, but it's not healthy. It's definitely not a healthy option. There are other healthy options available out there, but it's.
I wouldn't worry about any lawyers coming after you. So you can I think we're okay.